Let's do a review on the Sparked Innovations Bass Blaster SQL, the child's subwoofer. Somebody posted on Facebook in one of the forums that I am in, and just by the way, I don't I don't go looking for trouble. Somebody asked my opinion on it, or they just asked for people's opinion, and I just said it was overpriced for how generic it is. And Edward Lester, the guy that created this, I assume got pretty offended. He posted a video. At least I saw it on YouTube or not on Facebook. There's some old axes to grind with the way that. See, and that's the thing is, it's the way that they think and market, and this comes from people like Jacob, who he's a pretty good engineer, but what he's really good at is being a bully, and gaslighting people and tricking people, and that shows up in his the lawsuits that are pending against him and Sundown. But Ed Lester, it appears to be a pretty good guy, but he's a bit emotional, and and what's funny is the criticism I gave him, or I gave the driver, was I thought was right on the nose. If you look at it, I'll put a link to it and you can read it. Excuse me. I said, all you did was make an 8-year-old's version of a Scar VXF. You literally told the factory in China to paint the cone silver. You could have chosen aluminum cone, but you did not. You could have chosen to use an aluminum dust cap to fill the front of it so that the front of it appeared to be aluminum. I said, it's a designer subwoofer made for children, for other children, made by a child. I said, only a child would be upset about an opinion. Only a child would need to quote his big daddy, Jacob Fuller, in order to verify the validity of the subwoofer. So, because there's a couple points in Ed's description where he says that Jacob Fuller designed the motor. And again, the motor's not very, there's nothing really unique about it. The thing that he said was unique about it was the back plate, which again, it might be unique, but there's nothing, how do I say this? There's nothing technically innovative about it. It's just bumped. Meh. I don't see anything. Again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But again, this is my opinion. And then Ed has the adult version, which is the Sparked Innovations SQL 2000, and those are more expensive. So if you want to be an adult, they're more expensive. But I think they're all just overpriced. So, and then I was going to talk about the GONZO Jr, which we're doing pre-sale here at the end of February. We'll open up the account and you guys can ask for what you want. And I'm kind of glad that we did a sort of an intro to this, because I want it to be cost competitive. And then I also want you to see all the other features that you're getting versus a product like this, which is 100% made in China. And so, but again, we'll do more videos explaining the features. I want to focus on Ed's products here. So Ed also, again, I assume, I don't really know, that because he treats Sparked Innovations as a separate entity. Which I understand. Some people do that. You know, I talk about robot in the third person all the time. So I understand that. But I wanted to show the Sundown. I think the Sundown is sexier. and it is super generic. So just like the Sundown products, the only badging it has is this poly cap that has their brand on it. It doesn't have any labels of what impedance the driver is. I think there's a small decal on the back. But again, I like brands like Scar because this is a really sexy driver for somebody that doesn't know that it's generic. It just looks good altogether. And it's easy to rebadge, meaning that you can buy this for, what do they want for it? $297. So, and that's for the 12. So for $300, you can buy this and then resell it to some snobby audiophile where it's the cat's meow. If something like this appeared in home audio, oh my God, they would want like $3,000 for that thing. So just look at the JL products. This thing outperforms JL audio, the 12W7 by far. And it plays to 30 hertz. It's excellent. It's a fraction of the price. So, but back to Ed's stuff. I looked at some of the specs on them. This is annoying. Just trying to get to the product. I went down to the... This is interesting too. I'm always fascinated about the X-Max on how they quote it. I stopped doing X-Max like 10 years ago, and I just tell you the whine height. That's all. There was it's a 4-inch coil. There you go. Okay, so it's like the slaps subwoofers. What is it? Slaps. Let me pull up the slaps real quick, but yeah, right here, high 20s, low 30s on the D4, and that's of course about right because the D2 coil is going to be a little heavier. It has less windings in the gap. It has less material. VAS is still printed in liters. It looks like it has a really good BL. Yeah, it has a really good BL product. And this is normal too. Anything in the mid 20s and higher is great. This one is in the 30s. So that's pretty fantastic. Of course, sensitivity, again, that's at 1K. This isn't really made for 1K, so it's not really meant for that. Again, I don't like to use the sensitivity numbers because they're made for a different type of driver. Let's see. This is the 12. These are, I'm not a fan of the round ports. And his tuning is too low. But again, that's just my observation and my stuff. So Sparked also sells for other people. The other thing I noticed was that Ed Lester, and I assume that Ed is in charge of the brand. He also lets Big Jeff and other vendors sell his product, that product, which means that he's selling it out the door to Big Jeff at a discount. Which I thought was interesting because typically when somebody has a unique product, they just go direct. You go direct to the consumer, and that way you get to keep all the money, and you also get to control the image and the distribution and things like that. Again, well, look at Phi. Look at the stuff that John is doing with Phi is like amazing. I still think it's really expensive, but again, if the guys are willing to pay for that, then that's fine. Let's scoot on over to Slaps and check out Slaps real quick. All right, Slaps has... I saw some discounts during Christmas. This is their Oblivion version 1, I think. There was one that... Yeah, the Oblivion version 2. Yeah, so again, this is more hardy. This uses a 4-inch coil. Just to course correct a little bit, the Sundown U, which is what I think Ed's motor is based on as far as design, the Sundown U uses a 3-inch coil, along with the Scar VXF, which also uses a 3-inch coil. There's slightly a better power handle rating, just because a 4-inch coil has a little bit more surface area, maybe a little bit more mass as far as thermal mass goes. But really, there's no performance difference. And but anyways, that's one of the things that was brought up because Slaps rates theirs at 2K, and then Scar rates theirs at 1500. But either way, if you get 1,000 watts to either one, it's going to do really well. So then you have to look at just, cost analysis. The 12 here is 284. That's amazing. So what I want to know is, though, are they using the built-in designs to the TI frame that Tilo built into it? Scar does not. Scar actually glues these fucking bolts down, and they're tough to get out sometimes. But sometimes if you get them for real cheap, then they become modular, which is really great. And then you can use the motor for whatever you want. And then Sparked Ed, which is Edward Lester, he got a little offended, and I'll post a link to the video. What he was making fun of, and again, he didn't mention my name, he didn't mention robot, so I'm just kind of guessing. He also said that I was an internet expert, which thank you, but I am I try to be the least quote unquote professional audio grand wizard available on the internet. Again, a lot of people don't understand what robot is, and that's okay. It's okay not to understand what I'm doing. It's fine. But anyways, the Oblivion has also 284. Yeah, I remember it around Christmas time being right around 200. And it's basically the same thing as what Ed imported from China. 4-inch, 300-ounce motor. That was the other thing that Ed didn't really post was how much the motor weighs. FS31. Okay, so yeah, low 30s. High BL numbers. Yeah, same thing. So that's an even better comparison, is that this is a better looking version. Again, you can rebadge a lot of this stuff than Ed's child's woofer. To me, it looks like, as a kid, he was obsessed with like Lost in Space or those old 60s sci-fi TV shows, and then created this and was inspired by, Audioban and stuff like that. This looks plastic, but I think it's just the powder coat color that he chose. But again, all the parts are there, but all the parts are generic. There's not really anything innovative about the product other than that it's very annoying looking and kind of, well, it's like a Jeep. It's gay. And there's nothing wrong with being a gay Jeep owner. There's nothing. Be proud of your ducky, and that you prefer whatever. That's fine. I just don't understand this to be as serious as Edward is. Does that make sense? So, and what's funny is Edward he claims, again, I don't know. He claims he used to work at T3 Audio with Jonathan DeMuth. And Jonathan DeMuth, his work with T3 was really just a rebadging of a lot of TC Sounds products. And again, there's nothing wrong with rebadging. There's nothing wrong with using other people's work. For me, my policy is just to give them props and talk about it as a history lesson, so that we all know what we're buying here. But if you go over to Prodigy Audio, which again, Sparked Innovations has a little section for Prodigy and Jonathan DeMuth's products, a lot of them are just off the shelf. But he did do some tooling, I think, on the 10-inch, and I think on the shallow subwoofer. So, oh no, that's the new one that's being used. I like this frame, but again, I don't like it because it's not removable. So, but yeah, Jonathan. Oh, that's what it is. I think it was the 8. I can't remember. I remember I'm a fan of Jonathan's work, and I've known of him since his work at T3. What's funny is about T3, if you look at the logo, you can find it on the Internet Archive. The logo of the T3 actually has the Terminator robot eye in the logo. So again, he was just doing a little wink, wink, nod, nod to the Terminator franchise, the movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Again, which I thought was very, it was just kind of under the radar, really soft spoken. But again, and I do the same thing with Robot. So, but I openly mock, I openly mock and make fun of tough guys in this industry, because again, this is more of a nerd industry, but I find it hilarious when people come out of the woodwork and call me names, or get mad that I express my opinion. Again, if you listen to, I forgot his name. Oh, yeah, it's the alien guy. Yeah, he talks about that, when you're not yourself, you're cheating the world of your unique perspective. And I'm glad that Ed expressed this. I just expressed my opinion, which is that I don't like it. I I think it's going to age very poorly as well. But again, I was just scrolling, looking for people to help, I guess, and Edward got he got bent out of shape. Oh, that was what I gotta talk about, which was that here's the group, by the way. It's called SQ something or other. Jacob Fuller always expressed sort of like trying to expose me when I was selling on eBay, as if I was keyword manipulating. Yes, Jacob, I'm keyword manipulating. That's how the internet works. That's called SEO, search engine optimization. And if you look at a lot of the videos that I post, a lot of times, again, you can say that this is a TC Sounds inspired. Is it TC Sounds? No, but I mean, it's got TC Sounds running through its blood, because Tilo designed this frame for Eclipse, the Eclipse Titanium series. That's what he designed this frame for. And it's a beautiful piece of artwork that Scott Atwell at Phi owns. I'm sure Scott retained all the IP, and then John just got the distribution rights and also the Phi. But and I also talked to Ed about instead using Scott's 12-inch frame, which is 6-spoke, like the 15 and the 18, and also the removable top assembly. And then when Ed made a video, he's real passive aggressive. Again, it's like just a retarded nerd rage. I thought it was very funny. I'll put a link to that as well. So again, I would love to hear your opinion about the Bass Blaster. The name is also terrible as well. But and the other thing that him and I were arguing about, because Edward's phrasing was that he tooled this up. He says he tooled up the surround and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know why you would tool up a surround when there's plenty of good surrounds available. And then also name drop that big sugar daddy Jacob Fuller designed this motor for you from scratch. This motor is based on like 100 old patents that everybody uses. So again, there's nothing unique about it. I did think this was fine. A little shout out to Corey Dean of SPL Audio, that the spider is blue. And that's what Corey Dean is known for as well. But again, all these guys all seem to be birds of a feather. And they're all just quirky nerds that are cosplaying as tough guys. And there's a lot, that's most of the bass guys anyway, with the beard and the glasses and the douche flute and the cool demos and everything. I think it's all foolish, but again, that's just my opinion. I'm here to get you guys a good deal. I'm here to get you guys educated. I'm not here to take advantage of you. And but I think that's a pretty good review. Again, I'll put all the links in there so you guys can do your own homework of whether or not I was out of line. So I love you guys. Thank you for your support. And again, keep the questions coming. This is just one that popped up on my radar, and I was quite surprised and entertained that Ed took such offense to my criticism. So again, if you're on the internet, or even if you're just an adult and you want to be famous, this is pretty famous as far as, you know, products go. Not everybody's going to like your work. And my history of people not liking my work is quite substantial. There's a lot of people that really don't like my work, and I'm okay with that. I thank them for taking the time to contribute their opinion to, you know, whatever video or something like that. Again, that's part of the territory of doing something great with your life. So I don't think this is great. I think the other version is great. The adult version. Where's the adult version? Oh, I just had it. Oh, goodness. Let me go back. No, that's the bass blaster. I had the other one up on Q. There we go. SQL 2000, which is again, it's the same driver. It's just more adult looking. So I think that's very nice. I think it's also generic, but again, it's just a different color choice. So, which is really what a lot of products are now, because they all use the same parts. They all use the same open tool frame. Oh, that was the other one, was in this little group of cottage brands. The only one that spent the money on tooling was Jacob Fuller for his tooled, super strong, you know, frame, 6-spoke frame. And, you know, that was like $45,000 per size, you know, for the 10, for the 12, for the 15, for the 18. It's a lot of money. But you'll notice, again, there's a rift between Sundown and Scar, and people are like, oh, Scar is copying. Yeah, there's a reason why Scar is copying. It's to water down how quote unquote unique or, again, I don't consider Sundown unique as well. I think it's very generic. There's nothing really about. There's not a unique look. It's all black. Again, I don't need to disparage Sundown because a lot of people really love it. You know, whatever. Anyways, but one of the reasons why Scar tooled up a copy that is 10% different than Sundown was to dilute what is quote unquote unique about what Jacob does. Jacob actually doesn't do very unique work. It's not as innovative as how do I say this? Jacob allows people to believe. Does that make sense? Again, if you look at it from an engineering standpoint, it's all the same dumb bullshit. That's why I'd rather just do certain little tweaks to things to allow you to customize, get a unique product that was assembled in the U.S. and get in on something that is fun and rewarding. You know, again, this Ed chose blue. He chose the white Jeep with blue and pink neon. So again, that's just his choice, and I've given my opinion about it. You guys can make up your own mind of whether or not you think that is worthy of your money. And thank you for your support. I love you guys. Have a great week.